Hello everyone. If you have clicked on this video, you already know that you want to start a podcast or are at the very least toying with the idea of it. But why should you? I'm Rakesh Soni, creator and host of the podcast India Unveiled. Launching a podcast lets you present your unique voice and insights in an engaging way and establishes you as the key opinion leader in your niche. And that's where Spotify for Podcasters comes in. Spotify for Podcasters is a platform that provides you with the necessary tools to put your podcast into the world. Whether you're an avid listener, a podcasting enthusiast, or someone with an idea who doesn't know where to begin, you're about to get a rundown of the basics that'll help you start your very own podcast. In this video, I'll guide you through different genres, topics, and formats that work for your podcast. So let's get started. When selecting a topic, it's crucial to choose subjects that you're passionate about and knowledgeable in. Researching trends and gaps in existing content can help you find a unique angle. You should also keep in mind who your target audience is and what type of content they are interested in. For example, take Hussein and Keshav from Far From Fact. Their podcast covers science, pop culture, technology, sports, and the internet. And yet, it's not about any of those. What makes it special is their skill to tell bizarre stories with a layer of humor, creating a unique and engaging mix for listeners. Once you've decided the topic of the podcast you want to create, it's time to decide the format of your podcast and the category it falls under. Podcasts can be divided into two categories, fiction and non-fiction, and three subcategories, solo, interviews, and roundtable discussions. Let's start with solo podcasts, where you take the stage alone to share your thoughts and insights. An example of this format is The Sex Podcast by Lisa Mangaldas, where she discusses and debunks otherwise taboo topics around intimacy and sex in bite-sized episodes. Another format is the interview style, where you bring in guests ranging from industry experts to family and friends, depending on your podcast's theme. Think All About Movies with Anupama Chopra. Alternatively, you can explore roundtable discussions, fostering group conversations for a dynamic and unique perspective, as seen in The Internet Said So or WTF Is with Nikhil Kamath. No matter what you choose, your podcast will fall into one of two categories, fiction or non-fiction. Fiction podcasts involve scripted and prepared content or stories, following narratives within their universe. Consider the horror show by Khuni Mandi, a horror stories podcast as an example here. Non-fiction podcasts are more informal and conversational, giving you and your guests, if you have them, an opportunity to be off the cuff, like in Figuring Out with Raj Shamani and The Internet Said So. As a solo podcaster, non-fiction podcasts may manifest as you giving your opinions and education about a topic, like in The Sex Podcast with Lisa Mangaldas. You should select a type that aligns with your content style, ensuring your podcast provides an enjoyable and authentic experience for your listeners. If that sounds daunting in any way, don't worry. We'll be covering this in detail in the next episode. Speaking of listeners, understanding your potential audience is a crucial step in effectively reaching them. The way you speak in your podcast makes a significant impact. Therefore, language and tone are important tools that help identify and cater to the right audience. Always consider who you want to listen to your podcast. Is it someone seeking knowledge? Make it easy to learn. Is it someone looking for some light-hearted content to end their day? Keep it easygoing. Is it a self-help podcast? Use a hopeful and encouraging tone. It's all about understanding your audience and speaking their language to make a connection. A look into your desired audience will also help you decide how long your episodes can be. Creatively, your material and how in-depth you go with it is the largest indicator of how long your podcast should ideally be. Let's break that down into three broad lengths. A short podcast, say about 5 to 10 minutes per episode, will help you deliver information as nuggets of content. Shorter episodes, like in Lal Chashma, also allow for better retention through the entirety of your podcast. A mid-length podcast, like 20 to 30 minutes per episode, allows you to dig deeper into your subject matter and cover more ground in each episode, like Ekta does in Decode Dil with Ekta. Lastly, A longer podcast, anything over 30 minutes, is perfect for audiences that like to cover insights and the subject matter in depth. This allows the podcaster to cover a lot of content in detail, like in WTF is with Nikhil Kamath. However, this is subjective, so it's important to remember that your podcast can evolve as it goes. You can take all these things into account before deciding how long the episodes are. As you take care of the creative direction of a podcast, Spotify for Podcasters is your partner on the technical side. If you're ready to start your own podcasting journey, Spotify for Podcasters is where you need to be. You can find the link to download Spotify for Podcasters in the description below. You can also skip to video 3 of this series to jump right into Spotify for Podcasters and its workings, the link to which can be also found in the description box. And now that you're all logged in and ready to go, watch episode 2 to know more about how to structure your episodes based on your type of podcast. So, see you in the next one.